Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most captivating stories in the Bible, the story of Joseph. It's a narrative filled with profound emotional and psychological themes: rejection, betrayal, resilience, and ultimately, redemption. As we journey through Joseph's life, we'll explore how his experiences reflect the human condition and reveal the sovereignty of God in the midst of suffering. Joseph's story is found in the book of Genesis, chapters 37 to 50. It's a tale that spans from his early days as Jacob's favored son to his rise as a leader in Egypt. But beyond the surface details lies a rich tapestry of emotions that can teach us valuable lessons about our own struggles. In this video, we will explore Joseph's feelings of rejection and abandonment, his encounters with betrayal, and how he maintained hope amidst adversity. We'll also discuss the significance of forgiveness and reconciliation, culminating in a powerful understanding of God's providence. So, grab a comfortable seat, and let's dive into this emotional journey together. Joseph was born to Jacob and Rachel, and from the very beginning, he was treated differently. Jacob, having worked many years to marry Rachel, favored Joseph, giving him a beautiful coat of many colors. This favoritism was not merely a matter of preference. It shaped the dynamics of the entire family. Favoritism can create deep emotional rifts. Joseph's brothers, feeling overshadowed and rejected, grew envious. They were no longer just ordinary brothers. They became consumed by jealousy, which clouded their judgment and strained their relationships. Imagine being Joseph. The burden of being the favorite child can be heavy. While he may have basked in the affection of his father, he was also the target of his brother's resentment. Joseph's dreams of greatness only intensified this animosity. He dreamt of his brothers bowing down to him, a vision that represented both hope and conflict. To his brothers, these dreams were not just innocent visions. They were threats to their own significance. Joseph's experience exemplifies how jealousy can warp familial bonds. Rather than fostering unity, favoritism breeds resentment and insecurity. This is a common theme in families where one child feels overlooked, creating a cycle of emotional pain. As the brothers plotted against Joseph, it's important to reflect on the psychological impact of being seen as an outcast. Joseph was unaware of the depth of his brother's feelings. The emotional trauma of feeling rejected by those who should love you unconditionally is profound. Joseph's story invites us to consider the impact of our actions on others. Are we fostering love and acceptance in our relationships, or are we, perhaps unknowingly, perpetuating jealousy and division? The climax of Joseph's early story comes when his brothers decide to sell him into slavery. This betrayal marks a pivotal moment in his life. Imagine the horror and confusion Joseph must have felt as his own flesh and blood turned against him. One moment he was wearing his father's coat, and the next he was stripped of it, thrown into a pit, and sold to Midianite traders. The emotional trauma of being betrayed by those he trusted must have been overwhelming. Joseph transitioned from a position of privilege to the depths of despair, feeling abandoned and isolated. As he journeyed to Egypt, Joseph likely grappled with intense feelings of worthlessness. How could his brothers do this to him? The sense of abandonment must have been crushing. In psychological terms, betrayal can lead to feelings of worthlessness and hopelessness as individuals begin to question their value and their relationships. In Egypt, Joseph's fate was not much better. He was sold to Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh. Here, he faced another challenge: the struggle to maintain his identity in a foreign land. Joseph was no longer just a favored son, he was now a slave. The emotional scars of his betrayal and abandonment would shape his character and resilience. Yet, Joseph's story also reflects an incredible capacity for adaptation. In Potiphar's house, Joseph proved himself as a diligent servant, gaining trust and responsibilities. This resilience is a powerful aspect of his character. Despite his circumstances, He chose to work hard and make the best of his situation. Joseph's experience highlights the struggle many face when their identities are challenged. How do we maintain our sense of self when everything around us changes? Moreover, Joseph's ability to adapt demonstrates a crucial aspect of emotional intelligence, the capacity to find purpose in suffering. While it would be easy for Joseph to succumb to despair, he chose to channel his energy into his work. This brings us to a significant question. How do we respond when we feel rejected or betrayed? Do we allow bitterness to take root? Or do we seek to find purpose and resilience in our pain? As Joseph settled into his role in Potiphar's household, he faced another major challenge when Potiphar's wife falsely accused him of attempted rape. This accusation led to his imprisonment, a further descent into despair. Imagine being in Joseph's shoes once again. After overcoming betrayal and adapting to a new life, he is now wrongfully imprisoned. The emotional turmoil of being unjustly punished must have been overwhelming. In prison, Joseph faced a critical moment of introspection. Instead of succumbing to despair, he maintained hope and purpose. Joseph's ability to interpret dreams resurfaced in this dark place, where he began to help fellow prisoners, showcasing his capacity for empathy and connection, even amidst hardship. Joseph's experience in prison is a powerful testament to the human spirit's resilience. Despite being in a seemingly hopeless situation, he chose to remain engaged and purposeful. He interacted with other prisoners, offering hope through dream interpretations. This scenario reflects the concept of learned optimism. Joseph's ability to maintain hope, despite repeated injustices, speaks to his emotional resilience. Studies show that individuals who can find meaning in their suffering often emerge stronger. Joseph's dream interpretations eventually reached Pharaoh, leading to his elevation from prisoner to ruler. This moment underscores a critical theme. God's providence can work through our suffering to bring about something greater. As we consider Joseph's story, it's essential to reflect on how we respond to our own trials. Do we allow our circumstances to define us? Or do we strive to find purpose in our struggles? Joseph's journey is a powerful reminder that even in our darkest moments, we can find strength and resilience. After interpreting Pharaoh's dreams, Joseph was appointed as second-in-command in Egypt, tasked with preparing for an impending famine. This elevation marks a significant turning point in his life and the overarching narrative of God's sovereignty. Joseph's rise to power illustrates a crucial biblical theme. God can turn our suffering into something beautiful. Reflecting on the trajectory of Joseph's life, we see how each painful experience shaped him for his ultimate purpose. Joseph was now in a position of authority, responsible for saving countless lives during the famine. However, this newfound power came with its own emotional complexities. He had to navigate the expectations of his role, while grappling with the memories of betrayal and abandonment. The emotional burden of leadership can be immense. Joseph had the authority to punish his brothers when they came to Egypt for food, but he chose a different path. He tested them, not out of vengeance but to see if they had changed. Joseph's choice to forgive rather than retaliate speaks volumes about emotional maturity. Forgiveness is not merely a choice, it is an act of courage and strength. In a world that often encourages revenge, Joseph's decision to show grace challenges us to consider the transformative power of forgiveness. He had the authority to let bitterness take root, yet he chose to see the bigger picture, one where reconciliation could lead to healing. As we explore the theme of God's sovereignty, it's vital to recognize that our pain can have purpose. Joseph's life encourages us to trust that God can use our struggles for good, even when we cannot see the way forward. The moment of truth arrives when Joseph's brothers come to Egypt seeking food. The emotional intensity of this reunion is palpable. Joseph recognizes them, but they do not recognize him. Joseph is faced with a monumental choice: to hold on to the pain of his past or to embrace the possibility of forgiveness and reconciliation. As he interacts with them, the emotions must have surged within him: anger, hurt, but also a longing for connection. Joseph's initial testing of his brothers reveals his desire to understand whether they have changed since the days of betrayal. This process of testing reflects a crucial aspect of forgiveness. It often requires discernment and wisdom. When the moment finally arrives for Joseph to reveal his identity, the emotional weight of the reunion is profound. The brothers, confronted with the consequences of their actions, tremble in fear. They expect punishment, but Joseph instead offers forgiveness. As we wrap up this deep dive into Joseph's emotional journey, it's clear that his story is not just an ancient narrative, but a timeless lesson on resilience, forgiveness, and the transformative power of faith. Joseph faced unimaginable challenges: rejection, betrayal, and abandonment, but through it all, he maintained hope and ultimately found redemption. His journey teaches us that even in our darkest moments, when we feel alone or forsaken, there is purpose in our pain. God can take our trials and shape them into something beautiful, leading us to a place of healing and leadership. Joseph's ability to forgive his brothers reminds us of the power of grace and the importance of reconciliation in our lives. If Joseph's story resonated with you, I encourage you to reflect on your own experiences of struggle and triumph. What lessons can you draw from his journey? How can you apply the themes of resilience and forgiveness in your own life? Thank you for joining me today. If you found value in this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it with others who might need encouragement, and hit that subscribe button to join our community. We have more inspiring content on the way, exploring the emotional depths of biblical stories and how they relate to our lives today. Let's continue this journey together. I'd love to hear your thoughts on Joseph's story in the comments below. What stood out to you the most? Until next time, remember, your story, like Joseph's, is still being written, and every chapter has the potential for redemption. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.